Welcome to The Explainer. We're diving right into a situation that could have massive global consequences. The United States has just announced a full naval blockade of Iran in the Strait of Hormuz, which is one of the world's most critical waterways. So let's break down what's happening and, more importantly, why.
All right, let's just start with the words that basically lit the fuse on this whole crisis. This is a direct quote from former President Donald Trump, and it immediately frames just how serious the situation is.
So the announcement itself came from Trump's social media platform, Truth Social. He declared that the U.S. Navy would immediately blockade the strait and that they would target any ship at all, entering or leaving an Iranian port. I mean, this is a huge move with immediate global repercussions.
Okay, so the big question is, why now? What's the official reason for such a high-stakes move that absolutely risks a direct military conflict? Well, the administration was pretty quick to offer its reasoning.
According to Trump, Iran has broken its promise to keep the strait open for free passage. The administration is calling it an act of blackmail against the whole international community. And, as if that wasn't enough, they also announced that U.S. ships would start clearing mines in the waterway, which adds a whole other layer of direct military action. Now here's where it gets really fascinating. How exactly does the U.S. plan to enforce this thing? This isn't just a political statement, there's a very detailed operational plan. So let's look at the specifics from U.S. Central Command. Things moved incredibly fast. Right after Trump's social media post, U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, they issued a formal order with a precise start time, 5 p.m. Turkey time. The jump from heated rhetoric to actual military action was almost instantaneous. CENTCOM's order was crystal clear. Naval forces are instructed to intercept all maritime traffic going to or coming from Iran. They do make a point to say that this will be applied neutrally to ships of all nations, but, and this is key, vessels heading to other ports in the Gulf will be allowed to pass. So this is really designed to completely isolate Iran.
An action this big was guaranteed to set off an immediate and pretty intense international reaction, and it did, from both allies and adversaries.
And this perfectly illustrates the diplomatic friction here. In an interview, Trump claimed that key allies, including the UK, are totally on board and would even send their own minesweeping ships. But then, just hours later, a UK government spokesperson flatly denied it, stating very explicitly that the United Kingdom would not participate. Iran's response was just as swift and way more direct. The powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps declared that any foreign military vessel approaching the strait would be considered a violation of the ceasefire and would be, quote, severely punished. It's about as clear a red line as you can draw. And then the threat shifted from military to economic. The Speaker of Iran's parliament, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, posted this pretty chilling message. He's basically warning American consumers that this blockade is going to make gas prices skyrocket. He even shared a screenshot of gas stations near the White House, just to make the threat feel personal and immediate for Americans.
So we have the blockade, we have the threats, the diplomatic splits, but all of those are really just the symptoms. It's so crucial to understand that the root cause of this entire crisis comes down to one single unresolved issue. In his announcement, Trump actually revealed that there had been recent back-channel talks and that they'd made progress on a lot of fronts. But he dismissed all of it, called it meaningless, because they couldn't get an agreement on the one non-negotiable point for the U.S., and that's Iran's nuclear program. And he made his position absolutely unequivocally clear. He just restated his foundational policy. Iran will never be allowed to possess a nuclear weapon. For him, every other point of negotiation is basically irrelevant as long as that one fundamental issue remains on the table.
And so that's where we stand. You've got warships moving into position, you have direct military threats being exchanged, and the global economy is just hanging in the balance. The question isn't just about a blockade anymore. It's about whether this rapidly escalating crisis can be pulled back from the very brink of conflict.